G'day, mates. Red and Under, we are back. And boy, we've got a lot to unpack, Alistair. I mean, we've got the long form competitions have arrived on Sorare. I mean, deadline day is upon us. At last, we can finally sleep at night with some sort of peace and put all these dreadful transfers behind us. We've got 3D cards to unpack, of course, and we could never forget about we've got our final Moon or Dune segment. The final Moon or Dune of this transfer window. It's been a hell of a ride, Elster, and it feels fitting to go out with a bang. I'm sure there's still yet to be plenty more transfers in the last couple of hours between when we record this podcast and when the transfer window does end. If it ever does end, I'm still not convinced it might just go on forever. I'm not sure. And of course, we've got our winners of the shit list for the week. There's always shitters in this rare world, and we've got to crown this week's winner. So, Alistair, it's a big couple of days. It's going to be a big month coming up on Sorare. So September has a lot in store.
Damn, yeah. I mean, you said it. There's a lot to unpack. September's going to be mayhem. I mean, you and I think we need some change in our lives. Whatever we've been doing hasn't been working, so I think it's kind of fitting that Sorare is shaking things up for us, and hopefully our fortunes can shake up with it.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of been a tough little stretch. Obviously, last week's episode was titled Head Noise because you've been basically battling the demons for the past couple of weeks.
Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast!
I mean, I guess hopefully with the changes comes a new change of fortune. Obviously, both of our galleries not performing optimally at the moment. I guess if you want to jump straight into the long form competitions, if that's something that you sort of see is going to be productive moving forward, is it only going to accentuate your poor performing gallery even more?
Yeah, it's just 8 weeks of, oh God, I'm terrible. God, look how much I suck. Oh dear, I'm just falling down the leaderboard. I think I'm excited for the long form competition, and I'm also dreading it. I think I'll be obviously competing in the super rare division. I feel like that's going to be a little bit easier to compete in. Like, I think All-Star Rare and All-Star Rare Pro, and don't even get me started on Limited, that's going to be bloody hard to compete in. Like, and I think you mentioned when they first announced it, you were like, all I'm seeing is just a repeat of the Global Cup, where it's like, oh, week 1 in, I'm out of the running. I guess the benefit of this new format is that it's your 4 best scores. So I think I'm somewhat confident that my boys in All-Star Super Rare can put together 4 pretty decent scores over the course of an 8-week period. I mean, there's been so many weeks recently where I'm just one player off a really good score. Someone commits an own goal or a random DMP. So if my luck can turn around, I think I could do quite well. How are you feeling about the, obviously you'll be competing in the rare division. You do have a really strong rare team. How are you feeling about your chances?
I think it'll be interesting to see what the rewards are like at the lower end of the level, because I feel like I've been kind of the guy that's consistent without absolutely smashing. Like, I feel like if you look at most of my weeks and months, I'm hitting pretty good scores, but often it's just a tier 5 or sort of a tier 4. So realistically, if I'm looking at that and that is sort of piled up over a couple of weeks, I'm not sure how far off the pace I'm going to be. I think that'll be interesting. I mean, Alistair, of course, you are a super rare owner of a Claudio Bravo of the Portland Timbers, of course. I mean, you kind of can just plug him into any lineup now, because if it's only your top 4 scores, I mean, Claudio, he's renowned for either getting 95 with just AA or 5 points. So, I mean, you really can't lose in this situation. I think this could be your golden ticket, Alistair. Your golden ticket to the top.
So you're saying Claudio Bravo is the secret. He's the key for me. If he can get his 50% hit rate and he can hit a 94 1 out of every 2 weeks, I'm in. Is that what you're saying?
He is the perfect player for the long form Sorare. You've heard it here first.
I love it. Oh man. I'm just looking at the prize pools. So you'll be competing in All-Star Rare unless I mean, I think, talking about transfer deadline days, I'm pretty sure Nabil Bentaleb to Lille is confirmed now. So your one super rare, you've got one super rare there. Do you think you might dip your toe in the rare pro? Less competition?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's kind of hard to plan ahead in Sorare because probably a month, 2 months ago, I was like, all right, I'm going to sell this guy when he comes back, and I'm going to run this guy. I bought a Zaruki, and he transferred from Twente to Feyenoord, and I was like, okay, cool. So that's a midfielder in the rare, sorted, locked and loaded. He's going to crush. He played 45 minutes, and then he's been benched and hasn't come back. I thought I had a goalkeeper in Kojikeru, locked in starter, 27 years of age. And I was like, okay, cool. I can play him. And if not, I can sell him and I can get a super rare. And then fast forward a month and he's now a third string and he has not got a transfer anywhere. So it is a little bit frustrating because I feel like a month and a half ago, I had these plans in place and it's all kind of unraveled right before my very eyes.
Everything's turned from gold into shit.
Which has kind of put me on the back foot trying to pick up another super rare Alistair. It's a little bit tough.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who peddles in super rares exclusively, it is daunting to be like, right, I'm about to spend 0.7, 0.8 ETH, maybe more on a player, and God knows what's going to happen. Like the consequences are so severe. So I totally feel your pain there. I think there are some bargain super rares to be had out there, and I mean, we've always, whilst I think All-Star Rare Pro is getting harder to win because there's some big boys out there with some super daddy super rare cards, on a decent week you can still pick up much better rewards at the lower end than you can in your All-Star rares. So yeah, I'm right behind your move into Rare Pro, mate. So hopefully over the next couple of weeks we can do a bit of scouting. Obviously you'd have to do some scouting this afternoon if you want to get in the All-Star Rare Pro for this weekend, but yeah, I think the sooner you can make that move, the better.
In terms of ETH, we have no ETH. That seems to be the problem. Yeah.
I'm experiencing that too. I forgot that I'd changed my settings from ETH to cash, and I changed it from ETH to ETH and cash, thinking it's the new thing. I'll do what everyone's doing. And I sold my Harry Kane Limited the other day, and all of a sudden, like $500 appeared in my cash wallet, and I was like, I can't do anything with that. Useless. I mean, because now I've got ETH and then I've got cash, and there's no way to transfer them both, so I'm kind of screwed. So that is a very frustrating element of the cash wallet that I think a lot of people are getting stuck with because they're like, oh fuck, like now I can't do anything, and I've just got I have to take the money off, change it into ETH, put it back on, or vice versa. Nightmare.
Yeah, that I sort of came unstuck with that as well because I want to transition to cash, but I feel like most cards are still listed in ETH.
Yeah. Some big news that reminds me of. I don't know if you've come across the Sorare user Katos. Have you heard of him before?
Oh,
yeah. Buys and sells, a very big account. Apparently, he's been banned for credit card fraud. I don't know how they do it, but like buying and selling and doing something to like something dodgy. So that's massive because he had a huge gallery. I don't know what happens if like do you just forfeit all of those cards or do they get sold back to someone? Like
Nicholas gets the digital lighter and he just sets fire to each card and sends them off to card heaven.
Yeah, man. But I thought that was pretty big news. But good that they're like cracking down on that kind of thing. But it does kind of like, I was thinking about this the other day. Now that I've got this bullshit cash ETH conundrum, I was like, is there a way I could like launder this cash back into ETH or vice versa via Sorare? Like, could I send you an offer with cash and a car, and then I was like, well, no, that's dodgy as hell. But if they can come up with some kind of way to change between the two, I think that's got to be the next step because it's frustrating.
Well, because the problem is that they're not an official. I'm assuming they'd have to get some sort of license, some crypto license to be able to get you to convert it between the two. Yeah, so
a bit dodgy. Anyway,
interesting.
some more big news this morning. It's all dropping. It's all happening. I told you, like, September has started, and whoa, we're off and running. The K League looks like its days could be numbered in terms of being covered on Sorare.
I mean, can we say we're surprised? I feel like we've had 3 months of like constant updates being like, "Hey guys, sorry, the K League's just we're having some issues. Bear with us." Like, I feel like, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just reading the update here. Following our testing from a new K League 1 data provider, we'd like to share our latest update. Prior to the test, they've been working with the provider to see if they can add the statistics that we're not previously offering, which was necessary for Sorare. After comparing the data from the new provider with those on our current provider, we found that the majority of the statistical fields relating to the AA score were inconsistent with our current scoring. No, we're consistent with our current scoring. However, we've identified discrepancies with some of our 50-plus statistical fields, specifically penalty entries, duels, final third passes, and interceptions, which means we cannot implement this new solution with full confidence. Yikes. Okay, so they're still working with the new supplier, but it sounds like they don't have the right product.
Fucking thing sucks!
Big fans, because like it's been a long-suffering kind of couple of months.
Does that mean your Shinjin Ho's dead?
What do you mean? Oh, he's dead now. He's been dead since I bought him, the stupid, useless twat.
Fair point. Fair point.
Sorry, I would take it. He's finally back to Shinjin. Shinjin Toe, as he's now known, broke his toe about 3 months ago. Should be a couple of weeks on the sidelines, they said. He's literally just got back onto the field last week. And then I saw him play sharper. He's not even predicted to start this weekend. So, best 2.2 ETH I've ever spent. Let's go.
Super rares, baby. How good?
Super rares. Oh, you go big or go home.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Like, I feel like, again, I mean, it comes back to our whole like uncertainty around Sorare. I mean, shit, like if you'd invested heavily in the K League, like you've kind of got like no defense. You just got to throw your hands up in the air and like that's it.
Yeah. That's. I mean, I guess they'll still just keep rolling out the like basic, decisives only, but that's not going to be enough to win in this kind of day and age on Sorare, is it?
Bloody hell! There you go. And another change, Elster, the cap mode is changing. It's going up, but it's easier. And they've changed it back.
Yeah. I think people were a bit... And I did feel that 300 was a bit too high. Like, especially, and I've mentioned this briefly, I think, when it first came out, but like, if you don't have collections or if you don't have the money to be keeping your players fit, not that they're doing that anymore, and you've got to roll out 5 shitters every week, hitting 300 is going to be really tough. It would become like a pay to win, and then it kind of cancels out the whole benefit of the threshold anyway. But with 280, I think, weirdly enough, I think that's probably a little bit too easy. I think that will be, especially with captaincy bonus, like you just put one player in there that you're fairly certain will go off, and you're well on your way. So I think it's good. I mean, I'm sure you're rejoicing. You haven't hit that threshold. Oh, actually, no, we both hit the threshold on the weekend. That was our first win in like 5-6 weeks.
It's been 84 years.
There was some nervy times. I think I had a Mario Hermoso and you had a
Daniel Wass
to go. And I feel like we both didn't say it, but we were both like, just watch. Just wait for Hermoso to, have to go do jury duty or something. And Daniel Wass is doing some political campaign somewhere. Like, thank God they both got on.
Daniel's
they both
been
did
arrested.
actually really well.
Yeah.
So.
Daniel's been arrested for credit card fraud.
Get your hand off my penis!
I think the key is, Simon, and I mean, anyone out there listening who hasn't listened to our 10 Commandments of Sorare episode, go back and do yourselves a favor. I think the key was, Simon, we went to bed on that like Tuesday night, knowing that both of our boys were playing overnight or early in the morning. But because of the events of the last 5 or 6 weeks, neither of us had any expectations or hopes whatsoever. In fact, I was certain that Daniel Wass was going to be, he's going to have missed the team bus and didn't make the pitch. So when I woke up to him, rolling out a nice healthy 65 and hit my threshold for me, I think that's the secret. Do not get your hopes up.
It's funny, after doing that episode, it became clear how important those commandments were. We're still like constantly going against that. Like, how many times have you been like, hey man, you should buy this 38-year-old goalkeeper? Or, hey man, you're totally going to win this week,
Yeah. I mean, look, we are not without sin, as are we all. So all we can do is try and do our best to live by the ways of the Lord Hans.
Now it's time to give us a call. Call me.
Okay, Simon. So, look, something very exciting this week. We've got a phone call in. So we're actually opening up the phone lines, and we're taking some audience calls. So this week, got something very special. We've been taking a bit of inspiration from John Nellis, the giveaway king. Giving back to the community. We've got 2 tickets to the opening match of the A-League match of the season on October 6th. Okay, so if you want the tickets, all you got to do is call in and say, I want the A-League tickets. And that's it. And they're yours. So let's go. Let's wait for the phones to light up. Oh, here we go. All right, first caller. What's your name?
Jeff.
All right, you want the tickets, Jeff?
What?
We're giving away A-League tickets, Jeff.
What do I want A-League tickets for?
Okay, never mind. All right. Oh, we got another caller. Okay, who we got? Liam. Okay, now all we got to do is say the words and the tickets are yours.
Is this solar down under?
Huh?
I need solar panels.
What?
Can you give me a quote?
No, wrong number, Liam.
Oh, okay.
Fuck's sake. Okay, let's try one more. Hello.
Hello?
Okay, do you want tickets to the A-League?
No.
Oh, fuck off.
Now, Alistair, what have you made of the new card designs? They've made a slight improvement. It is a slight little change. They've heard the feedback. They've heard the negative Nellies, and they've said, we hear you. Now, what do you think?
I don't care. I think I think everyone's just waiting for the 3D design. They think that's going to save it all. I don't think the new card designs are that great. I really thought last year's were like the best ones they've ever done. I thought they looked really clean and nice and slick. These ones look a little bit too much like someone's overthought it. I mean, the 3D thing, everyone kind of wants to know what that even means. What do you think? What are the most ridiculous ways that they could roll out 3D cards?
Maybe when, how we've said before, how when people get decisives, it should have like a little highlight of the broadcast of them scoring the goal. Maybe it can just be like, Claudio Bravo gets a decisive, and then it's just Claudio with 2 thumbs up, just popping up off your screen.
Reaches through the screen.
Yeah.
I've done it.
And then when your defender commits an error led to goal, it's just them hands to head. Oh no! Maybe get a little sound in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most realistic outcome is that the cards just like on the screen on your app, or if you roll over it with your mouse, they might kind of turn to the side a little bit, and they might have a bit of like depth to them. And maybe like the background will move a bit. I'm sure that's all it will be. I mean, it would be amazing if everyone had to wear like 3D glasses to look at their cards.
BYO glasses. No, I think, I think it's like rubbish. I think it's such it's just like, it's fluff. They're just fluffing about. Like, they're just making extra stuff for the sake of making extra stuff. I don't think it actually improves the product that much. Like, I think when we were crying out for better design cards because the MLS big heads and the likes, I get that. They're making change for a good reason to try and help sell the product. I can't see anyone being like, ooh, I have this slightly 3D card. I'm going to go and invest $2,000 onto the platform now.
Yeah. I mean, what I can't understand is, I thought the new MLS cards looked really cool, and the new J-League and K-League cards looked really cool. And then they brought out like the Argentina cards. They looked really cool. Like, that was a good design.
Very cool. Cool.
Why did they now have to bring out this completely brand new thing? I thought that was the new design, and I liked the fact that like the MLS had a different background because it was MLS, and so did Argentina, and like these different depending on what the league was, that would determine what the background was. I thought that was quite cool. So I don't really know even why they've. And like a Premier League card's going to be different again. I don't know. They seem to be a little bit kind of.
You've got to change the cards each year. You can
Each week, that sort of feels like.
Yeah, not wrong. But I feel like that's the whole point of the new season cards. Is it's something new. You can't roll out the same design on the cards year after year.
Yeah, but it like the MLS cards only came out a few months ago. Is that not this season? Like,
True.
It's new for the MLS. It's the new MLS season. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Like, we talked about this last week. You don't care whether Edinson Flores is just his face or whether he's giving you the thumbs up. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
Now, what are your thoughts, just to sort of wrap this discussion up, Alistair, on the app? So they're saying that they're moving towards some new and improved app, basically, is what they're saying.
That's what they're alluding. No announcement has been made, but they keep referring to App 2.0, and I think all the stuff with the card designs, all the stuff with the fitness, kind of doubling back on that, and the threshold change. I think all can be forgiven if they just nail this new app, because the current app. Have you used it at all?
Yeah, I use a little bit to put my lineups, but I mean it is so confusing. Firstly, but I'll just say this, Alistair, and this is why I think that the app needs to be the number one priority.
Yeah,
I have a couple of reasons. Number one, the only time I'll ever put in training lineups, which I have done for the past month and a half, thank you very much, is on the app, because I'm on the train home from work and I go, "Oh, Academy." I can just jump on my phone, quickly put it in, it's done. Like, I think it is underrated, the barrier having to go onto a desktop to play Sorare is for the platform. I think if they can have a more immersive mobile, that people have their iPhones on your Samsungs, I think that makes the world of difference.
Yeah, I mean, I use my mobile too, but I literally go to sorare.com on my Internet Explorer on my phone. Maybe that's because I'm an old fuddy-duddy, but yeah, I don't really use the app for anything. I use Sorare Data. I use their app every day, obviously, but I think Sorare I think they could just make it a little bit more seamless. Like what you, I haven't used it for quite a few months because I opened it up and I was like, I get everything I need from Sorare Data. I don't really need this, but you use it every now and then. So what do you think is what's the main thing that's missing?
Oh, it's missing the whole fact that you can't trade or accept offers or do any of the things that you need to do. Unless I'm wrong, I feel like all you can do is literally set your lineups. And even then, it's not very well set up, in my opinion. I just hate the fact that I'm on my phone, I see that I get a offer come through, I then have to either log in on my internet browser or go onto my laptop to accept an offer. Why can't that be on the app? Make it an app. Make it all in one place. Make it seamless.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to get a notification every time I received an offer or someone, rejected or mostly rejected my offers. That would be, because at the moment I just have to I log in and I hope to see a few notifications pop up. I'm like, oh, notification has popped up. I think I get an email, but it goes to
mine goes to my spam, my promotions section,
goes
and
to
I
promotions folder, so I never see it. And then I'm like, oh, I got a notification. But it would be. I mean, you and I both, we live off the dopamine hit of that. Whenever we get a Sorare Data notification, I want more dopamine. Hit me with more notifications. That's all I want.
I must say, Alistair, maybe in a way, Sorare are looking out for me, because you know what could be dangerous, Alistair? I'm on a night out. I'm having a good time with the boys. I'm absolutely plastered. I could totally see me get an offer come in and Mish be like, oh yeah, bang, accept, and then wake up in the morning with just complete horror.
You are absolutely right. They're saving you from yourself. No more, no more two-factor authentication. You just give it the old Face ID, and you're in. And then you just make it awful trades. You're sending crazy ETH offers for cards because you like the way their face looks. Yeah.
I just want to give.
I want to disaster.
I want to give myself a red card just quickly, Alistair.
Ooh.
Last week, I had some mates down in Melbourne having a great time, having a few beveraginos. And again, it sort of comes down to I shouldn't have easy access to my phone or social media while drinking. It's quickly been deleted the next morning when I woke up in horror, but I just need to apologize and raise my hand up and give myself a red card for the video I shared of Neymar in the charity match. And we were at the pub absolutely blind going, oh, how bad's this? Neymar in the Saudi. And then I just wake up to this like angry text message from you, like, you idiot, what are you talking about? It's not from Saudi. It's from a charity match like 8 years ago.
Oh man, people trust us, Simon. People trust us as a source of hilarity and hard hitting football news. And I mean, because I saw that video doing the rounds, and of course it was like, oh look at how ridiculous the Saudi league is, and here's Neymar with like dreadlocks or something. I was like, well, this clearly isn't. And everyone's just like jogging around. Everyone's like 48 years old and overweight. And I'm like, this clearly isn't the Saudi league. And then all these other dickheads are sharing it, being like, oh, I can't believe this. And then all of a sudden, what do I see from my own Twitter account? Someone else being my mouthpiece saying this is a disgrace. I was furious.
I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds!
I was absolutely furious. So your Twitter privileges have been revoked, I think.
So yeah, maybe it's a good thing I don't get the Sorare app because I feel like that could be a slippery slope. But look, I just wanted to apologize. I stuffed up, but look, we look to learn and live on from this moment.
Yeah, you might do something crazy like sell all your rare cards and just buy super rares.
That would be so crazy, dude. Imagine.
Oh man,
Imagine.
God, drunk me. Hey. Anyway, also, I guess on the app, one of the things they've kind of promised along with the app is this new kickoff pickup mode where you kind of pick up and play. So they haven't really given us any details on how that'll work. The way I'm picturing it is like you go to, before every, I don't think they do it for every game. That seems mental. But if it was like a couple of Premier League games, a couple of Bundesliga games, like select, matches of the week where you can go in and you can do a little mini draft with players available from just that match and you put them in. I'm hoping that they have, and this might just be my own like DGen Sorare kind of outlook, but I don't really want to play Sorare for free with no reward. Like it's fun, kind of like bragging rights, but we're beyond that. Like we're already invested in this. Like we need something on the table. So I hope that there's at least like a chance that you can win something. Like obviously you're just playing against your mates and that's where the bragging rights come in. But potentially if your 5 hits like the top global leaderboard in terms of scores, maybe you win a limited or you win some ETH or something like that. I hope that's the way it works.
Yeah, I kind of disagree a little bit. I think in my opinion, those kind of competitions, I sort of see it like the World Cup. I just feel like it's even like, I think the optimist in you is being like, oh, well, I could get close to the top, but I don't think that Sorare need to promise, oh, you can win ETH if you do this, because at the end of the day, people who are playing, it's very, 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 very unlikely that you're going to get anywhere near there. So why not? I like the fact that they're marketing it as a pick up and play with your mates, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, but again, it doesn't need to be likely for people to still enjoy it. The fact that like I'm playing with you and 2 other guys and my team wins, I'm like, yep, fuck you guys, I'm the best. But then also if it's like all of a sudden all my guys are smashing and you can see on the leaderboard that I'm 10th, all of a sudden the boys are around it. Like it's, holy shit.
Can I, take that and raise you one more? Isn't the whole point of the pick up and play, the kickoff mode, people enjoy it, people enjoy playing with their mates, and then guess what? What's the lure to get them more invested in the platform? Oh, if I put in a couple of €100, I can actually start winning like ETH or winning other cards. Is like, I feel like the free to play is the get them in and then the draw card for them to actually invest the money onto the platform.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. You don't want to you don't want to incentivize people to just stick with free to play. I I I I think that you with Sorare, I feel like you need to have that. You have to have some kind of win early on in order um to get hooked. I don't know. I mean, I've played fantasy games in the past for free and for bragging rights, and we've been very into it. But what kind of hooked me in with Sorare initially was I could see how this could potentially earn me money in some small form. I was like, okay, you buy these, you hit this threshold, and that's a way that you can kind of go on from there. So, yeah, I think you're right. You don't want to give it away with just the free to play. But again, they've just got to make sure that it's like, right, here is the next step, and here is a very simple way to get to that next step. And that app is going to be hugely important. If they can't buy cards, if they've got to go and fire up their old Windows 98 in order to buy some cards,
All you need to do is put the picture in.
And this is going to work.
that's gonna be a massive roadblock. But if they've just played the game in the pub and they're like, oh, cool, like so I can play this and win like $5 every week or $50 every week or whatever it is. Oh, just buy these, great, especially if they've had a few pints and they're like, oh yeah, what's $300? Oh, buy a goalkeeper, sure. I think that's an absolute must. Yeah,
because I think the pieces are in place. I think like the cash wallet, even though we're saying it's a little bit tricky at the moment, I think the fact that people don't have to get ETH, I think that's a great way to get people on board. So I 100% agree. I think they've sort of got it there. I just feel like the app is the last piece of the puzzle because they tried to do the whole, have 4 limiteds, 1 rare and progress that way. But really, no one's going to be doing that. I think it's, as we know, it's too hard to win. I think trying to rely on people winning to progress their way through the platform, whereas I think if you can get people hooked on the product with the app, which I think makes a big difference, and I think that's where they'll be able to actually onboard those new users. Because 100%, like, I mean, we all fell in love with it. So I think if you can improve the product,
yeah. Yep. No, I agree, and I think that threshold is the kind of that's the to use the analogy of like marijuana is the gateway drug, and you have a spliff on a doobie, and all of a sudden you're mainlining heroin. The threshold is the doobie in this scenario, and then unique kickoff is the heroin that you eventually get to. So, yeah, I think the sooner we can get people competing for threshold, the better off Sorare will be.
You know what's kind of scary, just quickly before we move on, Alistair, is I got to a stage there where I thought I could tackle the world. I started just trying to hit thresholds, and then I bought all these good players, and I was like, here we go, I'm going to win. And I sort of won a little bit. Now, I'm just bloody stoked to hit threshold. I hit threshold on the weekend, and I was like, how good is this? Whereas like a year ago, it was just like, oh, it's threshold. You don't want to be just content with that.
Yeah. How times can change. It is hard to win at the moment, man. Like scores are getting. I think that is affecting prices as well. Like you look at the prices of different players, and the very best players are priced at like 1.5 ETH. Your Brunos, your Messis, etc. Because people have realized that like it really is just buy the very best. Otherwise, it's very hard to compete at the top end. So it's going to be interesting to see how Sorare handles that, because I can see that we've had moments like this in the past where people are like, it's too hard to win, and then they've changed. They brought in the cap modes, and that really helped, and they've done all these other things. But even cap modes now are getting just ridiculous in terms of the scores you need to win. So like, it's I can. It's getting. I mean, obviously, I'm biased because right now I'm in a dry spell, and I'm sure if I get a few wins under my belt, I'll be like, yep, Sorare's easy again. But it does feel like it is getting harder and harder each week. I don't know if you feel the same.
I felt like it's just as hard as it was a year and a half ago. No, legitimately.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it's just as hard. I guess I've never gotten close enough to winning to being like, to notice what's required to win. If that makes sense.
Well, I think your trajectory is like you started off with a very, very basic budget gallery. You brought in some reinforcements, and you have slowly strengthened your gallery over time. And I think you've always just been like close to kind of cracking into the bigger wins. So I think like difficulty of Sorare has gone up, but it's gone up kind of in step with your improvement of your gallery. So like when you had say a 60% strength gallery, you were just outside the rewards. And now you've got probably like an 80, 90% gallery, but you're still just outside the rewards. So to me, that kind of highlights just how kind of tricky things have become.
Yeah, 100%. And then on the flip side, when you were dominating early on, when you were not the earliest adopter, but one of the earlier ones, you were like, how good's this? I roll these guys out and you can win divisions. Like, winning divisions now is pretty unrealistic.
Yeah, it's kind of almost like Powerball style. Like you really have to have 5 perfect things happen. It's because you can't just have like, oh, my midfielders and strikers scored a goal and I got a clean sheet and I'm number 1. You have to have like massive performance from the keeper. You've got to have your defender score a goal and keep a clean sheet, and you've got to have hundreds from your outfield players if you want to win some of these divisions. So, I think the answer is to add. I think league-specific competitions will make a massive difference because people will then have to just have that extra choice of where to play their cards, and I think that just makes it a little bit easier across the board. I see no reason why they can't have a Premier League only comp or a Bundesliga only comp. They're all got their own pros and cons, those leagues, and I think that would add an extra element, interesting element to it as well. If you could just be like, right, I'm just going to play Premier League because at the end of the day, people want to win Premier League cards, but if you play All-Star, the Premier League cards aren't necessarily the best cards to put in there to win the Premier League cards. But if you give them their own league, I think that'll be very popular, and that just spreads things around.
Sorare really is like entering the Powerball, except you enter the Powerball and then sometimes your ticket gets lost, or it gets torn up, or it gets put into the wrong pot, and you can't win that week.
Look, the beauty of Sorare, putting on the rose tinted, is the beauty of Sorare is that you've got that Powerball ticket and you've still got it next week. It doesn't go in the bin like it would normally with Powerball.
And 100%, like I think if you put a bet on and Alistair says, I want to put a bet on Shin Jin Ho, instead of him being like, that was a bad bet, I lose my money, you get to look at his NFT every day for the next year, and his sad eyes look back at yours and be like, what a fool you were. It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah, his eyes have been a lot sadder lately, actually.
Just imagine them in 3D.
Just tears, just a single tear. Oh dear, oh dear.
Now it's time to give us a call. Call me.
Okay, let's go back to the phones. This week we have our poll of the week. On Facebook we asked you, the listener, who is the greatest striker of all time? Okay, Noel in Parramatta.
Muhammad Ali.
Jerry in Box Hill.
Mike Tyson.
Okay, Sarah in West Wyalong.
Mike Tyson.
Alright, we've got James in Cronulla.
The answer is Mike Tyson.
Leonard in Perth.
I want the A-League tickets.
Nope, we did it earlier. Okay, Sarah in Glebe.
Mike Tyson.
Joe in Walcott.
Darwin Nunez.
That can't be right. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I see what's happened there. Okay. I meant a striker in football, but yeah, okay. Obviously no one cares about football in Australia. Anyway, moving on. Yeah. Okay, look, I think I'm excited for September. I think I'm excited for the transfer window to end. We'll talk about some Moon or Dunes in a second. I'm excited for the new game modes to come in. I'm excited, hopefully, for a new app by the end of the month. I think this could be a turnaround in everyone's fortunes. Mine, yours, Sorare's. Who knows? Might see the A-League by the end of September. It could all happen.
Yeah, it's exciting. Obviously, we're coming towards the end of... I'm not sure when deadline finishes in Europe.
I think it'll probably... I mean, we're recording this at 3 o'clock on Friday. I think it'll probably finish in like 12 hours from now, 16 hours from now. So I think there's still plenty that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, the crazy thing is that Saudi window is still open for another 2 weeks. So no one's safe just yet. But deadline day is always exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Francisco how do you say his last name? Francisco
Conceição.
The 20-year-old from Ajax potentially could go back to Porto, which is exciting. His price is already starting to go up. Apart from that, I think that's famous last words. That's all I've got transfer-wise. I can't see anyone else getting a transfer.
Yeah, I don't think I've got anyone that's in danger, but that, again, touching wood. And I don't think I've got any. I've had a couple of good moves, luckily, with Xavier Mercier is now a card that's alive in my gallery instead of just being dead. There's a couple of players that I would kind of hoped would get a move just because they aren't getting many minutes at their current clubs, but I don't think that's going to happen. So, yeah, I'm more kind of just a curious onlooker from the outside in.
Is it time, Alistair, to do our final Moon or Dune?
It's time.
It's time for a moon or dune.
I think. Okay, so for anyone who's new to the show, this is Moon or Dune. This is basically where we take a number of transfers that are currently either rumoured or have been confirmed, and we just kind of, give the old Maximus Iridius Minimus in the Colosseum, give it the thumbs up, give it the thumbs down. So, Simon, do you have a list of moons or dunes for me?
I do, Alistair. To kick things off, obviously your club is Tottenham in the Premier League. Sergio Reguilon is going across to Manchester United. Moon or Dune?
Ooh, interesting. I mean, there's actually about 5 or 6 Tottenham transfers happening allegedly today, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Reguilon to was Man United?
Yeah.
Oh,
keep in mind that Luke Shaw is injured, so there is a spot potentially.
Interesting. Does Malacia play on that side? They've got so many left backs, like left and right backs. Like they've got Dalot, they've got Wan-Bissaka, they've got Malacia. I guess it won't hurt to have Reguilon, but I'm going to say Dune. I don't think he'll get that many minutes at Man U, unfortunately.
Yeah, I still feel like he'll be second or third string. What about, to keep the Tottenham train going, Højbjerg to Fulham?
Well, I mean, anything's better than him going to Atletico Madrid, where I think he would absolutely he'd be a 50 merchant every single week. It's interesting because I think he's replacing Palhinha, and Palhinha's been pretty good at Fulham. I actually quite like Fulham as a team. I'm going to say Moon. I think he'll do well there. I think he's a quality player. Obviously, he didn't fit in Ange's new system, but I think he'll do well at Fulham, and I think Fulham will do well this season.
Thanks for that little extra bit of insight.
No, a little tasty bonus for you.
Why not?
Little biscuit.
Australian Harry Sutar is off to potentially the Rangers to join his brother. Couldn't quite crack it in Leicester.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts, feelings, concerns?
I think that's a Moon. I think he'll do well. I think he wasn't quite cut out for the Prem. Well, maybe he was, but he just not an amazing kind of team to be on last year. Yeah, I think he'll do well at Rangers. I haven't watched any Rangers. I haven't really watched any Scottish football, so maybe our Scottish friends out there can help us with that one. But yeah, I love a bit of Big Harry, so I think he'll do well.
From our very uneducated opinion, we're giving him the green tick.
Yeah, haven't seen him, haven't watched him. He'll do fine.
Yeah, he'd be great. Big presence. Last one, Alistair. João Felix to Barcelona.
I mean, I say Moon. I mean, he's got to do something someday, right? Everyone talks about him all the time. I feel like he did okay at Chelsea, but he just seems to be a bit of a mess. Like, he's too busy playing Sorare. I'm going to say Moon. I think Barcelona will have another good year, and I think he might kick on. Who knows?
Is he the card that Gary V owns?
Yes. So it's a famous card in the Sorare universe. Our good friend Leardinho owns one. Sorry, and it gets said twice a week, the fact that he could have sold it at the peak of the Gary V boom for about 6 or 7 ETH, but decided to hold on to it because he thought it was going to be worth 100 ETH at some point.
Imagine being a dickhead.
But yeah, that's one of the cards that Gary V owns, and he's been pretty much useless ever since then.
There you go. That's my list ticked off.
Nice. Okay. You took the Harry Sutar one out of my list, so I'll have to try and think of another one on the spot. Okay, first one here, Caden Clark to Minnesota. Caden Clark, just to jog your memory, was used to play for New York Red Bulls and was, the next wonder thing, and moved to Red Bull Salzburg and hasn't been seen since.
Could you see the fear in my eyes as I was trying to rack my brain for who that was? I was like, I know that name, but I was like, please keep talking, Alistair, while I try and process who this is.
Yeah, Caden Clark. Yeah, oh, he's a good guy.
Medium-sized
He is
presence.
a good boy.
Look, obviously me and Caden, we go way back. I'm gonna go. Look, I'm gonna go Moon. I think again another American coming back home. Couldn't cut it in Europe. Back to Minnesota. I feel like Minnesota are kind of on like they're on an edge. I feel like their season can kind of go either way. I feel like they've got enough pieces there. Just they need to like sort of get it together, put it all together on the pitch. So yeah, I'm gonna go Moon.
Yeah, will someone please, help out our boy Emmanuel Reynoso?
It is infuriating. He's like putting balls on a platter. It's anyway. Don't get me started, Alistair. Get me riled up.
Okay, I've got a couple. Okay, this one's a little bit different in that I'm not going to ask you to say Moon or Doom. I'm going to ask you to say which one you think would be the best move. Okay, so here are a few. So I said that the Spurs are pretty busy at the moment. I mean, there's a lot of rumors floating around Spurs. So the three that I saw today, first one was Eberechi Eze to Spurs, Conor Gallagher from Chelsea to Spurs, and then the other one I saw was Brennan Johnson, the Nottingham Forest. I think he's a winger. To Spurs as well. Which of those is the biggest moon, if it was to come true?
I'm gonna put a line through Gallagher. Like I think just that's my third best option.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, Eze is the most exciting. I'm not sure how he fits into Ange Ball or what the go is there. I'm gonna go the rational decision of what's his name from Forest?
Brennan Johnson.
I just obviously like Tottenham need a forward. I've watched a few Forest games. I feel like he's pretty decent. So I'm probably going to go. I feel like he fits in the best. But Eze would be so exciting.
Yeah, I would really like that. I've always liked Eze at Crystal Palace. I mean, you said you watched a game of theirs earlier in the season. He was everywhere. So
it's been a weird one, man. Because I won his reward late last season, and I sold it right at the end of the Premier League season because I'm smart and good at Sorare. But I've been watching his games and like really exciting. Like a couple of like Jules won, but his scores haven't been that great this year. Like he hasn't. No one's latched onto any of his balls. I don't think that's the first time I've accidentally said that on the podcast as well.
No. His balls are so good. I don't know why no one is latching onto them. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, grab that guy's balls. I mean, latch onto them.
But yeah, so be interesting. I would love to see him get a move to a slightly better team, 100%.
Yeah, cool. All right, last one. I've had to come up with this one on the fly because you took my Harry Suter one. Odysseus Vlachodimos to Nottingham Forest.
Well, I don't want to see Matty Turner lose his job.
Yeah.
I mean, Matty Turner does look a little bit like a deer in headlights every time he's in goal in the Premier League.
I thought he looked pretty good, actually. He's plays for Nottingham Forest. Life's tough, but I think he's looked pretty good.
It was just the game that I watched, Alistair, was against Arsenal, and it was just like, oh, poor Matty. Like, Saka's curling in the top corner. Matty's on like a 3-second delay by the time he jumps to try and get to the ball because he's just nowhere near it. But nah, I love it. I thought he was going to go to Man United, so if he went to Forest, solid keeper.
Moon. Oh, thanks. We've lost our format already. Speaking of Super Rare goalkeepers, I'm in a bit of a conundrum in that I'm just sick of the sight of my MLS goalkeepers. I've got Galese and Stuver, and I never have any confidence they're going to keep a clean sheet because it's the MLS. I've got, like I said last week, Murakami is now my number one goalkeeper in my gallery. How sad is that? And then I've got Sengiza, who, like, by all accounts, should be the number one there, but they've just been shit for the first 2 games of the season. And there's always just that fear, as you know so well, when your keeper's team is doing poorly, every week is just this, like, horrible, are they going to get dropped? Are they going to get dropped? And again, on that super rare level, it's terrifying. So I'm trying to think of my options, whether I try and move them all out of the gallery and have a complete super rare goalkeeper clean out and try and pick up like one, maybe two just solid goalkeepers. But then I'm faced with the thought of like, what does a solid goalkeeper look like? They're all shit.
Well,
No one's safe.
I recently went goalkeeper shopping, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah. There's really not much between the best and the mediocre guys.
Yeah, it's the worst.
I think you just got. I think you have to get an MLS, man. I think that's. I don't know. Actually, I actually genuinely don't know why you have two MLS goalkeepers when we've talked about so publicly how MLS goalkeepers are a nightmare. Why do you keep doing it?
Because I'm a naughty, naughty boy, and when I was buying these goalkeepers, there was no European football on, and I couldn't stand the thought of just rolling out one team every week. That seemed crazy to me. So I had to go and buy a new goalkeeper, and I bought a fucking Brad Stuver. I mean, he's given me some joy, old Stooves, but my God, he's been poor lately.
I mean, at least with Stooves, you know that if he does get a clean sheet, he's going to get like 80 points because he's stopping like 10 shots a game.
That's true. That's true. Last week was a particular... Like, that was a real heartbreaker. Last kick of the game, and I was pretty much on track. I mean, Claudio Bravo let me down anyway, so it's all, theoretical, but I was like, he was on like 88 points as a goalkeeper. And I was like, here we go, you beauty. Last kick of the game, concedes. Oh, heartbreaking. Anyway.
Shocking. Well, there you go, Alistair. The final moon or doon for this transfer window. I can't wait to get back this time next year and go through it all again.
Yeah.
If there's any players left.
We're not really usually ones to break the fourth wall, are we, Simon? But you out there in the comments section, let us know your biggest moons, your biggest dunes. Obviously, all the Saudi Arabia moves are massive dunes. We know that, but what's your favourite transfer of the window? Let us know. We might respond to you.
Sprinkle some wisdom.
Okay, let's keep it rolling. Shit list.
The shit list.
Shit list, baby. We're back.
Shit list.
So basically,
of the week.
Yeah, the shit list is for those that have just completely shat the bed over the previous game week. We all have them. We all have players who let down our lineup. Claudio Bravo.
Claudio Bravo is a shit list Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's the MVP for the past 3 seasons. Yeah, goes down the record books. I'll kick things off. Surprise, surprise, Elster. You wouldn't bloody believe it. It's an MLS goalkeeper. Whoa. No way.
Who we got?
This one, Martin Pays from Dallas. 12th minute red card. He came rushing out of the box. Couldn't help himself. Stuck a mid out. See you later, Martin. Ride the bench for the rest of the game. So that, I think he had 13, 14 points. I feel like that would be hard to take because goalkeepers are stressful enough, but when you lose them in the 12th minute, not happy days. Not happy days at all.
And the scary thing about this is the way goalkeepers are at the moment, he's going to miss a game because of the red card, I believe. I'm sure Jimmy Mara is going to come in, stand in his head, and then, Martin Pace could be out of a job just because he, couldn't resist the urge to stick the old mid out.
Yeah, it's scary. And Alistair, you said on last week's shit list that I was personally attacking you. Well, maybe stop having shit players because here he is again. It's Jacob Glesnes this week, coming off scores of 81 and 76. Owners, I would say, including yourself, Alistair, thought, hey, maybe we've come over the hill and we're on to greener pastures. He's back, baby. He cannot lose. No, 14 points. Error led to goal. Completely ruined any lineup that Jacob Glesnes was in. He used to be a lock and loaded set and forget last year. Hasn't quite been the same. I will say, Alistair, though, how the bloody hell was that an error led to goal?
So I realised that there was if you go back a little bit in the highlight reel, he does lose possession on kind of the edge of the box, but then there's 4 passes between that and the goal being scored. Very rough.
Nah, shit. He's on the shit list. All right. He's on the shit list.
Yeah, I mean, he is on the shit list. My whole team this week was on the shit list, so I embrace it.
And, well, actually, I didn't realize this when I put this list together, but there you go. All 3 of them are from the MLS, from the most recent game week. The shitter of the week goes to Mohamed Farsi from Columbus Crew, the old young Canadian, right mid, He's had some highlights throughout the year. Not so much in a 2-0 loss to Houston. Negative 36 points of AA. He committed 4 fouls. And what's most crucially, he only conceded 1 goal. So there's only negative 4 points for the
2-0
1
loss?
goal. He got subbed off after
Oh.
67 minutes.
Okay.
Fair
enough.
17 lost possessions and then 13 duels lost.
Oof.
And as we said last week, do less, Mohammed.
The less you do, the more you do.
Yeah,
Do less.
Just do less.
Stop.
I think after like 5 or 6 lost duels, you should just be like, look, boys, I'm just going to go and wait over here in the corner. Call me when the game's over.
I can relate somewhat to Mohammed because in my social basketball league that I played last week, I've never played basketball before, full of confidence, out of cum, try to shoot 2 threes, 2 air balls in a row. And then instead of going, me and Mohammed thinking and saying, maybe today's not my day, I should stop, I just kept digging a hole. I feel like that's what Mohammed did. And I feel like, go on, sorry, I'll stop.
Can you tell everyone at home who, some people, this will go over their heads, but can you tell them who you were playing with as well?
Well, but Ryan Pappenhausen's coach team for the Melbourne Storm. Now, if you're not from Australia, you have no idea who that is. But for an Australian, rugby league is our equivalent of like the NFL, I guess you could say, on a smaller scale.
Or the Premier League.
And yeah, well, that makes sense. But basically, I've done that in front of my idol, someone I look up to. So that makes it even more mortifying. So yeah, hilarious.
Nothing like being a complete anti-professional athlete in front of a professional athlete.
Yeah, it really rubs salt into the wounds, doesn't it?
Oh, man. Oh, dear.
But anyway, there you go. Mohammed Farsi, your shitter of the week, Alistair.
Congratulations, Mohammed. Very well done. All right, cool. I think that just about wraps everything up, unless there's anything else you want to discuss.
Unless any of my players have transferred between now and when we started the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it
should be set.
We're so good at timing these shows. Last week we did our show about 3 hours before the new card designs came out, and this week we're recording it like the first couple of hours of deadline day. But we couldn't wait because we got to get this episode out to you little baby birds. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the next 24 hours holds in the transfer market. Hopefully no disasters. And yeah, first weekend of the long form competitions this weekend. So hopefully this is the week that our luck turns around.
If we can't string it together for 1 week, I'm sure we can for 8 weeks straight. What could possibly go wrong?
Oh dear. Alrighty. Good luck, mates.
We'll catch you next week. Appreciate all the support. Like and subscribe.
Ciao. Cool. I'm going to just record some little bits so you can leave.
Go to my job.
Yeah, go to your job, and I'll get editing tonight.
Cool. Do you have to leave this? Because last time I tried to leave, it didn't fucking record or something.
Yeah, I'll stop, and then I think stop, and then if